You think the sun is enormous? Wrong. If you threw the sun into this thing, it would be like dropping a single raindrop into the Pacific Ocean. It would barely register. It nearly never existed. Even our entire Milky Way, with 200 billion stars, is nothing more than a light snack. A small bite is consumed before the chewing even begins. No law of physics, as we currently understand it, can fully explain it. The true ruler of the void. TON 618. We have a habit of assuming that what we cannot imagine must not exist. We look at Sagittarius A star, the black hole anchoring our Milky Way at 4 million solar masses, and we call it terrifying. The universe has never cared about our standards. And in the distant dark, an object exists that makes every superlative we have ever used feel embarrassingly small. TON 618 carries a mass of 66 billion times the mass of our Sun. Not a million. Billion. Every star in the Milky Way fused together totals roughly 64 billion solar masses, and TON 618 outweighs all of it alone. Sagittarius A star, the black hole hundreds of scientists spent 2 decades photographing, is 16,500 times less massive. If Sagittarius A star is a campfire, TON 618 is a continent on fire. Its diameter stretches to 390 billion kilometers. The Earth-Sun distance fits inside TON 618 2,600 times. Our entire solar system fills just 3% of the space inside it. The astrophysicists at NASA's Goddard Astrophysics Science Division calculated that at the speed of light, crossing TON 618's full diameter would still take 2 full weeks. 2 weeks at the speed of light, just to cross one object. If you shone a flashlight from one edge toward the other, your great-grandchildren would die of old age before that beam crossed the gap. What does it say about the scale of everything we have not yet found? That a distance like that belongs not to a galaxy, but to a single object. Here is where the universe commits its most spectacular paradox. You would expect the most massive, most consuming object in the known cosmos to be invisible, an absence, a silence. And at its core, yes, nothing escapes. But surrounding that point of absolute dominance, a vast spinning disk of captured gas and shredded stellar material transforms TON 618 into the brightest single object ever catalogued in the observable universe. It shines with the luminosity of 140 trillion suns burning simultaneously. Material at the event horizon accelerates to 10,500 kilometers per second, circling the entire Earth 260 times per second. That radiation outshines every star in its host galaxy combined. The darkest object in existence turns out to be the most blinding lighthouse in the cosmos. Does that change how you think about darkness, knowing that the most terrifying void in the universe cannot stop itself from screaming light? The discovery took 13 years. In 1957, astronomers at McDonald Observatory catalogued a faint blue dot, assigned it the number 618, and moved on. It looked like a star. Then, in 1970, radio astronomers noticed that object 618 was emitting waves that no ordinary star produces. When the team recalculated its distance using redshift, the result stopped the room. TON 618 was 10.8 billion light-years away, and for something that distant to remain visible at all, it had to be 140 trillion times brighter than our sun. There was no category for what they had found. They had to invent one. And now the question keeping theorists awake. How does something like this exist at all? The universe is 13.8 billion years old. The light from Ton 618 left its source when the cosmos was barely 3 billion years old, violent, chaotic, barely cooled from the Big Bang. Standard models are governed by the Eddington limit, the point at which a black hole's own radiation throttles consumption by pushing infalling material away. By those calculations, 66 billion solar masses should require hundreds of billions of years to accumulate. The universe has had 13.8. It is nowhere near enough. 3 hypotheses compete. The first, primordial gas clouds collapsed directly into black holes at the cosmic dawn. The second, repeated mergers, dozens of massive black holes fused by gravity over tight timescales. The third, the one that unsettles the physics community most, is that Ton 618 simply broke the rule. In 2024, researchers using Chandra observatory data confirmed a black hole feeding at 40 times the Eddington limit. 40 times. The ceiling we called absolute turned out to be a suggestion, which raises a question with no comfortable answer. If the ruler ignored our rules, what other rules is it breaking that we have not yet written down? And this is where the heated debate begins. Is Ton 618 truly the largest black hole ever discovered? And we name Phoenix A, the challenger. Initial estimates drawn from stellar motions suggest a mass between 100 billion and 1 trillion solar masses, which would dethrone Ton 618 entirely. But those numbers remain fiercely contested, the error bars large enough to swallow entire theoretical arguments. Phoenix. A is not a confirmed champion. It is a shadow on the edge of our instruments. A hint that the throne may already have a rival our telescopes cannot yet resolve. The debate itself is the revelation. The universe may be producing rulers too large for us to measure. But the true scale of Ton 618 isn't just a number. It's a physical impossibility. It is so vast that even the violence of its gravity becomes invisible. Consider what it would mean to fall in. For smaller black holes, the image is accurate, immediate obliteration at the threshold. But Ton 618's event horizon spans a volume bigger than our entire solar system. At that scale, the tidal gradient is gentle enough that you would feel nothing at the crossing. No alarm, no signal. You would simply continue existing on the wrong side of a boundary that nothing can cross back through. And you would have 11 days. 11 days of falling while a twin left on Earth ages and turns to dust. 11 days before spaghettification begins, tidal forces stretch every particle into a long filament of fundamental particles, folding inward toward the place where physics simply stops. The ruler does not destroy you quickly. That would be mercy. What happens to who you were? The information paradox, unsolved for decades, asks whether the data of your existence is destroyed at the singularity or encoded onto the event horizon, permanent and forever unreadable. You would not be erased. You would be archived. Your entire existence compressed to a two-dimensional surface on the largest object in the known universe. One bit among trillions, permanent and unreachable. Is that immortality, or is it the most complete form of erasure there is, to exist but never be read again? Here is the dark reality. We observe Ton 618 as it existed 10.8 billion years ago, a photograph taken before our sun was born. What it looks like right now, we cannot know. It may have grown. It may have consumed 100 more galaxies in transit. We are not watching a ruler. We are reading a 10-billion-year-old message from one, and we have no way of knowing what it has become since the moment it was sent. Space is hard. TON 618 should not exist by the rules we wrote, and yet it does, enormous and ancient and blazing from the deep past, with a light that required no permission from our models of reality. We found it from a small observatory in 1957. We measured it from the surface of a pale blue dot that it could swallow without noticing, and we refused to look away. Every telescope pointed at the sky tonight by the operators at observatories from Cerro Paranal to Mauna Kea is an act of defiance against the dark. The next ruler may already be out there, silent and vast, waiting, and when we find it, everything we thought we knew will have to make room again.